Any really neat insights that you wanted to share from your conversation, like you learned something amazing, or that you just feel like sharing? No? You can also type it into the chat, that's fine.
Thomas and I were talking about genetic editing and how we will be able to kind of eliminate the chances that the babies will suffer from diseases or disorder, or we're going to limit the chances that that is going to happen when the babies grow up. And I'm just curious, from your physician point of view, what do you
Mhm.
think of that? Do you think that we should encourage that, or do you think that it's unethical?
That's a great question. So in 10 seconds, it's a very, very nuanced topic. So kind of going back to our space medicine discussion, we talked about the challenges of the space flight environment, and then there's that paper from the MIT review that talks about like genetically engineering the perfect astronaut, and how it's, we talked about ethically, it's probably unethical to not set an astronaut up for success, and genetically enhance them against radiation resistance, for example. But then on the flip side, you get into that slippery slope of like the Gattaca world, like, okay, well, anyone who's not genetically superior or perfect will be an outcast or will be seen as a lesser human. So it's fraught. Maybe in the future instances of this course, we can actually create debate topics around contentious topics like this. But there's no easy answer. And honestly, we could spend an entire course talking about that, is my perspective.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. All right. So, um, oh, very cool, Lauren. I didn't know you're doing a combined MD MBA. Very neat. I will also go to you for business advice. Okay, so now we're going to talk about ideas generation. We've talked about exponential thinking. We've talked about new ways of looking at old things throughout this the lectures I've been teaching. So now we're going to get you. We're going to assign you into three. Maybe we'll do four groups. Four groups of 4 to 5 people. And then these will be your groups for the rest of the class. And for the first part, we simply want to work on the art of brainstorming. So I can't take credit for these rules. These are from IDEO, the design firm that I've been alluding to in some of my lectures. But this is how they approach brainstorming. And basically, it's about not judging each other's ideas, not saying that's stupid, that violates the laws of physics, but encouraging wild ideas and then building on each other's ideas, like, hey, what if we could have a time machine? Hey, what if we did this to build the time machine? And just building on each other's ideas, building that as a team. You can stay focused on your topic, hold one conversation at a time. Don't kind of talk over each other, but build. Um, in previous years, when we've done this in person, we've encouraged, very visual, draw ideas if you want. If you want to draw ideas and hold it up to the camera, that's fine. And then just go for quantity. Tips and tricks we learned from last time is one of the groups, they just surprised me and did PowerPoint or shared Google Doc, and they worked very collaboratively, easily that way. So if you want to do a shared doc or shared PowerPoint, that may be the best way to do this. So we'll put these back up, but what you're going to do over the next 15 minutes is you're going to pick one of these topics. Feel free to screenshot this if you want. So you can either pick things that really should exist, pet peeves, the greatest challenges in the world, staying warm in the Canadian winter, for example, greatest trends and technologies. We've talked about more than a few of these past few lectures. Ways to positively impact 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, a million people. And then, of course, this is new as of this past year, ways to cure coronavirus. So pick one of those topics. We'll assign you to breakout rooms. So we're going to do 4 breakout rooms. So you'll be in groups of 4 or 5. And then just generate as many ideas as you can around your chosen topic. Okay. I'm just going to go over to the chat before I do this to talk about, to see if there's any questions. Okay, perfect. All right, folks. So we are going to stand by and be prepared to be assigned into your groups. Okay. Okay. Thanks for attending, Alex. Good luck with your meeting. Breakout rooms. Away we go. recreate 4 rooms, stand by, and here you go. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're seeing a few more people trickle in. I think over the next 10 seconds, we should have the full quorum. So the great thing about teaching this class is that it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, and every group is different. From the group hopping that I did, I think that everyone really got into in-depth conversation. I'm not sure how we did for volume, but the quality of the conversations was quite nuanced and multidimensional, which is awesome. Any insights on how that was working in the groups and just working on idea generation, building on each other's ideas, brainstorming?
I guess,
Yeah,
I guess
go ahead.
for our group, but we found that some of our separate ideas actually sort of had a common link between them, which was kind of neat. Near the end, like, oh, they're the same problem. Who knew? So.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was getting at in the lecture on innovation and talking about building bridges between disciplines. Like there's going to be strands that which you can grasp at, even if you're a comp sci versus med student, and then look for those common problems and then weave them together and then just build those bridges. So over the next, let's see, how are we going to do this? Let's go until 3:08, okay? We're going to go back into those groups. I want to take one of your craziest, wildest ideas, and now we're going to talk about taking the next step from idea to reality. And so this is a very top level, but let's start getting into the weeds here. So what you're going to do next is answer these questions, and you have two templates. So feel free to screenshot or copy and paste this one, or you'll have a different slide. So over the next 14 minutes, I want you to answer, what is your idea? If it's a company or a product, tell me what you're selling, what need it serves, what problem it solves, who's going to use it, and who's going to buy it. Those may be two different things. For example, teachers may be buying for students who will use it, parents buying for toys for kids. Tell me how you're going to make money, what threats and hurdles you'll face, what external help you'll need. Will you need a large-scale manufacturer who can help you? If you have time, name your company, design a logo, and then tell me what the first step you need is today to make progress on your initiative. So PowerPoint works very well for this. Google Docs works very well. But really, whatever you need to work together. The other way to look at this is business plan Mad Libs. So you can use this template. Feel free to screenshot it. So at company X, we have created product name and description because of problem Y designed for this user. It will appeal to this buyer because of this value add. We anticipate X hurdles and will overcome them by this mitigation strategy. Some of our strengths include we will make money by, and then the first action step we need to take today is to achieve this goal is this action plan. And then keep on working on this. And then we will take the last 10 minutes to do lightning round presentation. So there's 4 groups. So we'll try to do 2 to 3 minutes per group. So just give us a broad overview. And then if there's time, we'll probably sneak in 1 question per group. And then we'll end on time, but we'll also be available to continue the discussion after class ends. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns? No? Perfect. All right. I will hop between your groups. I'll make comments and broadcast messages, and back to the breakout rooms we go. All right. Welcome back, everyone. That was a whirlwind. Do you feel like that you could have done this for over 4 hours instead of 30 minutes?
Oh,
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that being said, the quality of the discussion, the idea generation, you guys were doing great. Don't worry about, having a Apple level big reveal. We just want to hear what you came up with over the past session. So, can I have a volunteer for a group that wants to present what they've been up to?
Hey, I'm ready if our group is ready.
Sure. Do you need let me know if you need screen sharing capabilities, and if not, just go into it.
Oh, absolutely not. You can't read my writing. Do you want to present it, Jerry, or should I do it? I wrote it all in. Or Ted. Up to you guys.
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So at Empirico, which stands for the Empirical Company, we've created a empirical truth algorithm, product name description, because of fake news designed for humanity. It will appeal to humanity because of the cost of misinformation. We anticipate some widespread acceptance issues, and will overcome them with celebrity endorsement and the creation of negative results scientific journals. Some of our strengths include, well, I suppose brazen gumption. We weren't really sure there. But we will make money by trying to get large social media companies like Google and Facebook involved, because they sort of control the news now. And the first step we need to take today is to approach Oprah and Taylor Swift to get on board, because we think they have large reach, and to actually develop this algorithm and just approach current scientific journals to publish negative result versions of those journals.
Well done, well done. Any questions at all from the group? So here's a question. So this is a truth, like a fake news telling algorithm?
Basically what it would be is it would assign a score, much like what's sort of being started to do now, on how partisan an article is or how based in empirical fact. Like, is it well cited, or is this, my brother Jeff or something said this and therefore it is true, basically trying to say, is this an opinion or is this a fact, and assigning a score to that and having that become very important because Taylor Swift and Oprah said so.
So here's my question for you. Knowing that Oprah launched the career of Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil, do you think that she would be enthusiastic about a bias telling machine?
Actually, yes, because she obviously must be riddled with guilt now, and this would help.
Okay. But assuming the best of people, I like it. Perfect. Any other questions from the rest of the class? All right. Well then, in the interest of time, who's the next group?
Oh,
Go
sorry.
for it.
Okay, I think our group can go next. Our group was creating an exercise in a pill, and we thought that the benefits of it are that this drug can help impart physical changes in your body that's similar to what you get out of exercise. And it would be helpful for people who are bedridden, immobile, or have jobs that are super sedentary, and people who don't have time to exercise. And then I'll turn it over to Charlie, who can talk about some of the other things that we discussed.
Okay, so our business plan for it is kind of to push it as a pharmaceutical and to kind of go through the same hurdles that all the other pharmaceuticals do. And our overall plan is to make sure that the people who use it, which are people who need it for exercise but somehow can't do it, whether they're too busy or whether they're immobile or things like that. And so we will try to get it covered under universal healthcare, and also possibly push for a over-the-counter version depending on how it goes. And that's our plan for how to make money. And we've identified some threats and hurdles. So for example, general safety of the pill. So we had to figure out whether or not it's safe. We have to make sure that it's equitable, because we want to make sure that people who need it get it, rather than people who are just too lazy to exercise. And we have to figure out a way to do that. And yeah, we have to figure out how this affects general health, make sure that it's safe to use, and make sure that we can get resources for clinical trials, testing, and make sure that it conforms to government regulations. And I'll turn the last bit over to Abdul.
So regarding about ways, the first step to make progress would be to do research as to what exercise does to the body. So knowing more about what are the mechanisms that do occur within the body. So for us to do more of that, we will talk to an exercise physiologist, to a chemical lab tech, and get to know more of those ideas.
Excellent. Well done. I have a question. So what are you going to do when Peloton gets wind of this and comes after you?
I think we would, well, it depends. Like, what would they be coming after us for?
Well, you're a threat to them. No, people no longer need their Peloton bikes and virtual instructors if they can get all the exercise they need with the pill. So you're an existential threat to Peloton.
Right. Yeah, I think we would have to make sure that we're partnered up with some of the strong pharmaceutical companies to do our launch, so that potentially we would have the legal and capital backing of those companies to support it. I see a suggestion saying that we could tell Peloton it'll enhance their product. Yeah, we could change like the baseline of health with a pill like this.
Well, I'm laughing because I got this mental image of you as this teeny tiny itty bitty little company going and like whacking Peloton the giant on the shins and then running inside, hiding behind Big Pharma, which is actually brilliant. So that's great. Yes, overthrow Peloton. Two more groups left. Who wants to go next?
I guess my group can go.
Sure.
Do you guys want me to just present all of it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So our product is C-Link. It is a cell transceiver technology. What it's able to do is to send and collect information on the cellular level by monitoring cell activity. Who will use it? Just patients, whoever wants to opt in on this plan. It would be using like a sliding scale subscription or per use based on which areas you want to monitor and collect data. It would be used per gigabyte or something. Threats. Okay, so autoimmune reaction to foreign entities in the body. This is something that would be foreign to your cells naturally, but having it either baked into the DNA using biocomputing methods, or having it auto-assemble with cell mitosis, it'll just go with the cell as it evolves, or as it changes. But yeah, ethics of embryo implantation, we were thinking about doing it like from birth, so that you only need one of these transceivers and it'll just multiply as your cells do. But there's a big ethical hurdle with that. And so if you're able to do it, let's say just localized for tumors, you can track the progression of tumors and be able to treat it more effectively. Another threat would be bioterrorism, if someone can go in and mess with it. However, it's just a transceiver. It's not going to do anything too fancy. Someone could theoretically get this technology and tamper it with somehow. Okay, so external help. We'll need scientists and manufacturers on board. This kind of technology, because we won't need too many like gross product, we can keep it at lab scale, which will help with production. And yeah, the first step would probably get a patent out right away, since this is pretty novel technology, and then we'd go from there.
Well done. So here's my question to you. So when all of these people who've had transceivers implanted at them from essentially implantation, how are you going to handle the class action suits when they turn 18 and come after you because you didn't give them the choice of having transceivers implanted in them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's people above the age of 18 could consent to this. Because yeah, children and embryos, we had a lot of ethical debates about.
It was very Orwellian, but that's great. Very well done. Any other quick questions before we get to the last group? All right, then. Last team, you are up.
Okay, so we have a presentation, but it's in a very rough stage. So I can go ahead and share that. And to my group, if it works, we can sort of present on the slide we added stuff for. Okay. Let's
You're
see if
now.
I remember how to do this. Okay.
Perfect. Wow, look at you guys go.
Holy smoke.
Some of the text is really small. Okay, so our company is Tree Luminescence, and our product is essentially bioluminescent trees. So tree illumination, saving electricity one tree at a time. So what is our idea? What are we selling? Our idea is inspired by the natural glowing properties of bioluminescent phytoplankton and fungi. So our plan is to re-engineer these trees to express this bioluminescent phenotype through the molecules of luciferin or luciferase, so the tree can glow. And this will save on electricity while decreasing CO2 emissions in urban centers.
So for who to buy, there's two main groups that we're targeting. The first is governments and cities who could use these trees to replace streetlights and to light up dark parks. And for individuals, where they could use these trees that glow as Christmas trees or for landscaping.
For what need does it serve and what problem does it solve? Obviously, number one is it saves electricity. It also saves waste from producing plastic lights, and trees decrease carbon dioxide while releasing oxygen, so it helps clean the city air. And of course, number one, aesthetics. You can take your nice Instagram pictures in front of all these trees.
So how will we make money? So we plan to make sure that the seeds that the tree produces are non-viable, so you can't propagate these trees further. So we'll be the only source for these bioluminescent trees. And we also plan to patent the intellectual property rights for bioluminescent trees and whatever genetics techniques we end up using. We'll also grow the trees in a tree farm and sell based on the age and size of the tree to consumers.
As for possible threats, one issue we identified was the potential for light pollution, but we recognize it might be possible to modulate the amount of light that these trees give off, and also even at the top end, they can't be that bright. In addition, we considered issues related to biodiversity. If these plants sort of took over and then you had lit up trees everywhere, but no, we could make the seeds and the trees only able to reproduce themselves, not spread everywhere. And then there's issues about what sort of nutrients or care and concern these trees. Can you turn them off? I see a comment. No, I don't know if we didn't consider that to be possible, at least looking at the current science, but definitely that could be something that we consider in the future.
So for external help, we would need bioengineers to obviously help us genetically modify these trees to grow. We'd need to do all the extracting of the genes, possibly from anglerfish or fungi or fireflies, and get them actually into the trees. And we would also need funding to obviously create the seeds and then buy and run the tree farm.
And the first steps that we need to take here, outlined very rudimentarily, is we need a prototype, not a prototype, of the tree, and to sort of do a bit of market research to see if there would be any demand from cities for this kind of product. And
find some investors, maybe.
And that's all we have. So that's it.
That was great. I'm very impressed that you pulled together a PowerPoint presentation in that time. So my question is, are you in bed with melatonin? Is your hot tip to buy up melatonin shares before you disrupt the nighttime darkness?
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
that's certainly something that's already an issue with like street lights, like our and phones too. Like our sleep cycles are just getting completely messed up in the cities.
Yeah.
So like some solutions I've seen is sort of those alarm clocks that gradually emit light to simulate mornings and evenings, and sort of blackout blinds. I feel like those are kind of solutions that are already in place for like streetlight pollution that can
be your second product line. You create the problem and then sell super blackout light. That's so awesome.
More money.
But that's actually a real issue. That was for those of you who follow Starlink and SpaceX's Starlink configuration. You know, the disruption to the night sky, the light pollution, the disruption to nighttime stargazing is a very real issue. So yeah, it's really important to think about this land of unintended consequences. So I know we're at the end of time and over a little bit. Are there any closing comments that anyone has or questions? We can go on. Like I said, we could theoretically make this a 3-hour workshop and still not run out of time, but I do want to be mindful of your time. So any questions, comments, concerns? And if we'll keep it open for about 30 seconds, and then if not, turn you all back to your days. Does anyone know Oprah or Taylor Swift? Yeah, they're on my speed dial. Yeah, you guys did awesome. That was really awesome. You rose to the occasion, so well done. As always, feel free to email me if you have questions after the course. And I hope you, over the course of these 3 lectures, you got a sense of where and what we can draw innovation from, how to start thinking about new ideas, start thinking about old ideas in new ways, and then use extreme and unusual environments like the spaceflight environment as a breeding ground for innovation. Yes, as soon as I have the video file, it may just come to you. If it comes to me, I will absolutely send it to you, Kim. Perfect. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Sorry, I just realized I was like the new host for some reason.
Oh yeah, that was because when you shared the screen just at the very end.
Oh, okay. So I can end the meeting for everyone, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.